So today we're speaking with Tami Becker of the Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets or GRASP. You hear us talk about that. Tammy's been doing this for like 16 years. She's an expert, knows more than me, so we're going to bring her in today. Tammy, tell us a little bit about your background.
I've been involved about 15 or so years, kind of losing track actually of time. But our rescue has been around for about 27 or 8 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yep, long time. But I do make a point everywhere I travel, abroad as well as in the US, I find an animal rescue or shelter or person, somebody to talk to gain more knowledge. Just a little bit about me. So I'm retired at this point in time. I have no children by choice. I'm an only child, and my parents, up until right this moment, have been snowbirds. So
Oh, wow.
um, have a fair amount of time to dedicate to this, a little different than maybe other people do. So literally I'm retired, but I volunteer 7 days a week.
All right, Tammy, next question for you. A lot of residents don't know anything about the issues of stray pets. What should an average resident know about the stray pet issues, shelter issues in Webster, Greece, Monroe County? What should the everyday person know that they don't already?
I think they should know it's everywhere, and there isn't a turnkey solution to the problem. So we have inquiries coming into our mailbox and our voicemail every single day that they just want them to go away. So there were cats, kittens born behind their shed or under their canoe, true stories, and they just want them gone. Well, it's not that simple. They have to have a place to go. They are living things, and eh, the strategy, for us as a foster-based shelter or foster-based rescue is we have to have a home for them to go into. So while we'd love to just go and scoop them up immediately and take them out of the rain or the cold, we can't do that unless I have someone willing to take them in. There's no place for them to physically be without someone opening their door. The shelter model gives a little difference in that they have some, cages and rooms and different options that they can house those pets, temporarily until they can find them hopefully permanent homes. Some are both foster based and shelters, so they still try to utilize fosters. I think we would all agree that a home environment is a much better place for an animal than inside a cage or inside, four walls on a daily basis. So even Verona Street has people who go in and walk the dogs. They have to get out, they have to get exercise and socialization. So they all need to interact with humans, and the more humans, the better. So again, from our standpoint, whatever our fosters have, whether they have their own cats, own dogs, children, things like that, that all gives the pets exposure to make them more placeable into a different home setting.
So it sounds like then that in the shelter space, you almost can never have a shelter that's big enough because the animals keep coming in. You really got to have those citizens that are willing to kind of like stopgap, keep them at their house to
Mhm.
prevent the shelters from just being overrun.
Right, right. And like I said, that goes a long way into the family can then understand the personality of the pet. And uh, I guess as a foster-based rescue, I feel we do a great job of saying we might have an applicant that says, "I want an orange male cat, between 2 years old and 6 years old. This is what I want." Okay. But maybe they have a dog, maybe they have young children and things like that. And we have adoption counselors, trained adoption counselors, and we say, if you let us help match you to your ideal pet, what I'll do is based on your family situation, maybe you work full time, so you're gone 10 hours a day. You don't want that baby kitten that's going to be crying if no one's home all day, or a high energy dog. So I think as a foster based rescue, our expertise, we can help match you. And if you have little toddlers, it's best if we have let's say a cat or a dog that's already in a home where some 3-year-old's tugging on its tail, and we know it's not going to retaliate in any way. Where shelters may or may not have that luxury of knowing that information about the pets.
So Tammy, then to me, being newer to this, it sounds like the shelter is really kind of that just short-term stopgap, house pets for a little bit, but without having the foster-based rescue program wrapped around it.
Mhm,
That's what makes it really effective. So it sounds like for Webster, just building a building to store
mhm,
excess pets
mhm.
doesn't really solve the issue. We'd really have to build a foster-based rescue operation around whatever we were to build to make it truly like impactful and worthwhile.
I would say that's your ideal model, to have some kind of combination. Um, yeah, they just have to have a place to go. At times, we have had cats or pets in our care for more than a year, so it isn't always short term. Some turn over quickly, but again, I don't know, even in the best of scenarios, that an animal could survive mentally and physically in a shelter that for that long of a term.
Yeah, it sounds like all of us. It would just be unpleasant to be kind of stuck in there
Yeah, yeah,
without some
like
kind of
jail.
thing. And like you said originally, and we talked about this, like there's just a cost to that. And besides
Mhm.
just this grant money to build it, there's going to be additional costs to operate this. So,
Absolutely.
so if I was to ask you with your crystal ball, someone doing this 16 years, then do you think Webster might have more impact to try and partner with an external foster-based rescue and put some programs in place and not build a shelter, or try and build a shelter in collaboration with partnership with a foster-based rescue?
I think the collaboration idea sounds ideal. So there's lots and lots of rescues, those that have been around longer term, like ours. I hear of new rescues popping up um, just routinely. There's the cat cafes that are making a difference in the area, which is an interesting scenario. I'm looking into whether or not we are going to partner with one of them, but it requires the cats all cohabitate willingly, which is could be a challenge for anybody who knows kitties. And I always say I'm the anomaly in rescue with one cat who just turned 18 this month, actually, and one of the reasons I do rescue. So I had a goal to get another cat. And to which my princess said no way, and so she's gotten to be the only princess for the most part, for the last 15, 16 years. We do foster on occasion when there's just a drastic need, but I have to keep them separate. Um, but that is something, and if I had a dime for every person who tells me they can't foster because they would keep them all, they would be in the news as the hoarding situations. But those folks do have to be comfortable that millions die in shelters every year. So by people opening their homes, I always describe it as bittersweet. Um, so you can have perpetual kittens, which I think is kind of nice. But when I foster kittens, I'm pretty happy at my age when they move to their forever family because they're high energy little fur balls. Um, so there's just so many benefits of fostering that I feel it gives the person or the family more than you give it, and you do give it a lot, but it gives back to you. I get pictures, texts in my phone out of the blue, whether it's Christmas time or here's the funny one I think is it's the pet's birthday, but I have no clue that it was a pet that I may have fostered. It's their birthday, but they'll send me a picture and just say, by opening, whether me or we have dozens of fosters that work for us or work with us. um it's just so rewarding to get that picture of the dog laying on the sofa or the cat curled up on the pillow of the bed or something, and you played a role in that.
Well, that's amazing. It's that sweet little moment with that. So it sounds like one of the best things Webster residents can do to help with this issue, to help the town, help the community, is just foster a pet.
Honestly, if more people stepped up to that plate and even give it a try. It's a great way to give it a try. I say try before you buy. You can take in a pet to make sure it's the right fit for you. Do you want that commitment of a dog and taking it out for a walk on a daily basis? Um, it's really nice this time of year, maybe when the weather is breaking, but you got to do that in February too, when when it's snowstorm or raining. The dog still typically wants a walk. So, fostering is a great way again to see if a pet is the right fit for your family. And if your family does decide, yep, they want a dog, do you want large? Do you want small? Do you want high energy, young? Maybe again, you have a low key lifestyle, you want a senior pet. They can just be ideal to give them a home for their, golden years. Maybe their owner passed away or something. So they're all in our care for some unfortunate circumstance. So, and by no choice of their own, I'll say.
Well, it sounds more than I realized that in the foster pet system, like you've been saying, there is such a wide breadth of pets that are there to be adopted by people. It
Yes.
really gives some flexibility, like you said, some ability to really do some great like matchmaking between the owner and the pet and find a really good fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, our fosters write the bios for the pets, and we don't ask them to do that on day one or even week one, or some of them it takes a little while. Sometimes they have to decompress in our homes to for us to get a feel for their personalities. We just had a recent owner surrender of a pair of 5-year-old cats, and they came in extremely shy, hiding under the bed, but the former owner showed me all kinds of pictures. They were, social kitties, but it took them a little while to come out of their shell. And now their fosters even said they're the most loving, loyal kitties they can imagine. But somebody's got to give it some time for them again to, eh, I say when we move them to a new home, it's like you blindfold them, kidnap them, take them to an undisclosed location. And ideally the adopter wants them to be, happy from the get-go, but that's not always the case. They have to give them some time to explore their surroundings, make sure that they are safe and that they know every day at 5 o'clock, food goes in the bowl in the kitchen, something like that. So get used to that new routine and the new sights and sounds and smells of the new household.
I mean, I remember, my mom is an avid pet lover. We've always had pets, multiple dogs and cats growing up. And I
Hmm.
remember vividly as a kid, to your point, how many times, pretty much every time she would go to get a new dog or cat, she'd always adopt like usually like a puppy or kitten. Like that car ride home
Hmm.
was awful with all of them. Like I remember all the dogs and cats either like quivering, hiding, vomiting, peeing, pooping, like
Yep.
whatever it was. Like that car ride home, as you said, was like so traumatic for them.
Yes.
And as the human beings, you're just kind of stuck in there being like, I mean, there's nothing I can do. You can't like talk to them, but it was,
Right.
and they all eventually adjusted. But that car ride home, I remember that vividly. I haven't thought about that memory in years. So you made me kind of like think back to that. But yeah, that was, you could see that. That was unpleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's funny. They get so anxious. Yeah, so but yeah, they don't know what's going on. We can't explain to them what's going on. And yeah, I mean, some of your extremely social pets will, settle in just fine, but there are others that yeah, just need that time and to decompress and to show who they really will become if given the opportunity. So, ooh, and we certainly have people who adopt pets and within some, I think, ridiculously short amount of time say, "Oh, it's not the right fit." Then they want to give it back. It's like, well, if you give it a little bit of time, and I do try to encourage that, a lot of times we have to backfill our fosters, honestly, same day. I mean, I'll be like, okay, we're adopting the cat out at 10 a.m. I can have a new cat to you if you're cleaned up and ready that evening or the next day. So sometimes we don't have a place for them to go, even if they want to return them. So if I can get it to stick a few more days or weeks or something, um, and we say we'll refund your adoption fee. we say within a 2-week period. So if it's not a fit, we don't want to force that because we don't want our pet to live somewhere it's not wanted. But if I can get it to stick for a little while, a lot of times the pet will settle right in, and the whole family will fall in love, and you know it'll be a good match. So
Well, Tammy, it sounds like you've been doing some amazing work for animals throughout Monroe County for all these years. You're super busy, so I appreciate your time. Any final thoughts of other little tidbits you think Webster residents should know on this issue that clearly you've spent your life dedicated to that them like me probably never thought of before? Parting thoughts for us?
I guess I will just say, and I've done a lot of research on volunteering in general, and whether it's, there's all kinds of volunteer opportunities, but I truly personally have a passion for the animal rescue. But get involved, whether it's at a shelter or with a foster-based rescue like ours, it truly becomes a family. I say it fills a void I never knew I had in my life. But it really just is, like I said, more rewarding than I think you can ever imagine. And it just gives you back warm fuzzies that in my life I've not found anything else that matches that feeling. So
That's amazing, Tammy. Thank you so much for the time. For everybody watching, you want to learn more about GRASP? We'll put a link below to their website. Check them out, learn more about their programs, their adoptions, and maybe you can foster a pet and help out just a little bit.